there's one thing about me, it's that I love to make a list and then I love to ignore it. So I thought, what could we do on this grey, dreary Monday afternoon? We could make another list I could ignore. This is my official spring TBR. We have a bunch of new releases, so I don't own any of them yet, and then a few that are off my shelves, off my physical TBR, that I think would be spring appropriate. Things that I want to get to in the next coming months. When's spring? Like March, April, May? Maybe June? Is June summer? Maybe June is summer. That kind of time period. That's what we're talking about. Books that give spring vibes / they're coming out in the next couple of months / I just want to read them soon. So they're going on the list. You get the vibes? We have for you today 20 books that we're going to go through. I'm going to speed run them, but before we start, you should subscribe. Please. Book number 1, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It is coming out June 3rd. Is that in spring? Don't know. Bad one to start with. Kinda. I know absolutely nothing about it, but she is an auto-buy author for me. I have read, I think, about 5 of her books now. She doesn't miss. She doesn't miss. But specifically her Fame series, I don't know if there's an actual word for it, but that kind of newer series of books, the whole interconnected, they're all famous for different things. That series of books, I have loved every single one, and I am so excited. As I say, I know nothing about this. It's a gal, and I think she's an astronaut, and it sounds great. It sounds great. Book number 2, I told you we were speedrunning these. Book number 2, Sharp Scratch by Heather Darwent, who is the author of The Things We Do to Our Friends. If you know, you know. That is a book that reminds me heavily of Bunny. It's not the same at all, but it's the kind of same vibes. It's like dark academia, cult kind of vibes. It's a bit less culty than Bunny. It's at a university. It's a girl with like a dark past. She meets this group of friends and it's like her doing things to fit in with them. It's really, really great. I found it randomly in a charity shop. I fell in love. Also, the author is just really cool. I spoke to her on Instagram. She's great. Sharp Scratch is her new release. It comes out in May. The cover is gorgeous. I need to get it. I actually don't know what it's about. Let's Google it. I will say though, I don't know who designs her covers. They are magnificent. Okay, we're following a child psychologist. Oh, no we're not. I can't read. I can't read. We're literally not. Okay, we're following Betsy and she goes to a luxurious unorthodox retreat. It's giving Rouge by Mona Awad. I don't know why I keep comparing these two authors. I just feel like they have a similar culty, dark thing going on, and I'm here for it. She discovers that her imperfections make her unique, not weak, but all she has to do is follow the rules. Very interesting. It currently has 14 ratings. I'm ready to be the 15th. I'm ready to read this book. I love finding authors who I've not heard other people talk about their books and just getting to discover them with like no preconceived notions of the story, and that was very much what The Things We Do to Our Friends was for me, and yeah, very, very excited to get into a Sharp Scratch. Okay, book number 3. A favourite author of mine, you all know, unless you're new, and then hi, subscribe. Lisa Jewell, I love her so much. She has a new book coming out. It is called Don't Let Him In. Okay, it's actually coming out at the end of June, so it's not that close. Is that still spring? Debatable. I'm still going to include it in the video. It's fine. I love Lisa Jewell. I've loved every single one of her books that I've read. I have read a lot, probably 5 or 6 at this point. Loved all of them. None of This Is True is my absolute tip-top favourite. Obsessed with that book. And she is an auto-buy author. Another really lovely author as well. I have actually met her. Okay, it's 3 women connected by one man. He was the life of the party until a man pushed him into the path of an oncoming train. Okay, I've scanned the rest of the blurb. A lot of it went over my head. As I said, not feeling my tip-top best. Brain is working at about 20% of its usual ability. But she's Lisa Jewell. Babe, it's Lisa Jewell. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. I'm excited. Next up, we have Sunrise on the Reaping, which is, I believe, the new Hunger Games book. I'll be honest, this book, I heard about it somewhere in the ether and it kinda I don't know, it slipped under the radar for me a little bit. I haven't really heard anybody talking about it. Equally, the last book, or what was it called? Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I never actually read, but I saw the movie. But this new one is about Hamish. And girl, I love Hamish. I love Hamish. I love him. I love him. I love him. I don't know if I can read this one without reading Songbirds, but I've seen the film. I know it's not exactly the same. People said there were definitely differences, but like, that's what happens when you make a movie. I want to read this one. I don't know what it's about at all, but it's about Hamish. Need you say more? I'm assuming it's about Hamish's games, because obviously in like the original book, he is their coach. Oh my god, it's been so long since I've read / seen those films. He's their coach, and he is their coach because he was in the games, right? I'm not making that up. That's true, right? So long since I've seen The Hunger Games. Now I just want to rewatch The Hunger Games. Anyway, I loved Hamish. I really hope the same actor is somehow in the movie, even though it would be him younger, but he needs to make a cameo. He has to. And that one comes out in, oh, March 18th. Oh, really soon. Like really, really soon. Next up, this book will literally only be a surprise to you if you've never once been here before. If you've seen even one of my videos, you know I can't wait to read this. And I'm gonna stop banging on about it at some point, but today is not that day. Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. That's not a new release. I know, babe, we've been over it a lot. We've been over it a lot. I have been waiting, I was gonna say patiently, literally not patiently at all, for the paperback to come out. I have on numerous occasions nearly just bitten the bullet and bought the hardback, but I want my Sally Rooney books to match because she is one of my absolute favourite authors of all time. I am obsessed with her, I love her. All of her books are 5 stars, every single one that I have read. This is her only book that I haven't read, and it comes out in paperback in May. And babe, the day it's released, I am going to Waterstones. I even have a gift card set aside. My friend Kylie got me a Waterstones voucher for my birthday. I literally, when she gave it to me, I was like, I'm getting Intermezzo in May. I have it aside, ready to buy Intermezzo. That is how long I've been thinking about this book. Okay, moving away from upcoming releases, a couple of new releases, like they've just come out, that have piqued my interest. The favourites, something to do with ice skating. Every time it's described to me, it really reminds me of, what am I thinking of? I can't remember which one, but every time somebody describes this book to me, it reminds me of a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. And I suddenly can't think which one because I can't really think of the synopsis off the top of my head, but it's something to do with ice skating, and I think these two people, I think it's kind of romancy but more literary. These two people used to be like a skating duo, and I think everyone was obsessed with them, and then something happened and now I think they've like come back together, maybe. I'm probably really butchering this description because I'm just going off very vague memories, but I've seen it floating around a lot and I think it sounds like my alley. Onyx Storm, the third Fourth Wing book. I have read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I have not yet gotten my copy of this. I was kind of waiting to see what the reviews said, and to be fair, I haven't actually seen that many reviews, but I think I will at some point get my copy of this. It kind of upsets me that the first two are gold and the second one is not. I feel like they're not going to match because they're like 2 different shades of gold and then the third one is black, which I get, it's Onyx, but anyway, that's a superficial thing that I need to get over. But where the second one left off, I'm definitely very intrigued. These books are ridiculously thick and I have big book fear, which is why I've not picked it up yet. I'm also like smack bang in the middle of my ACOTAR read. I've read the first 2, I need to get to the third one, have the exact same issue. Massive books, so I'm just scared, but at some point I will go and pick that up. Maybe even with my Waterstones voucher. We'll see. Sticking with the fantasy theme, 2 Twisted Crowns. I literally just read One Dark Window. I am so excited. I'm so excited. I really, really liked that first one. And it's a duology, which is the perfect number of books in a series, other than 1. I'm not much of a series person if you can't tell, but a duology I can get behind. I think again where the first one left off, it's going to go somewhere interesting in the second one. I don't really know what to expect, but I'm intrigued. And my friend Carly just lent me her old Kindle, so I might read it on there, but I do actually need to set up the Kindle because I've been procrastinating doing that. But maybe at some point I need to do a finishing series video, because I have quite a few series, fantasy specifically, that I'm in the middle of. Because the same with Aquawar. This isn't on this list, but I guess honorary mention. I also need to get to that at some point. If I could do it this spring, that would be great. Then I've written down Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. I have decided, having read My Year of Rest and Relaxation and loved it, it was my favourite book of last year, I want to read every single book that she has written. This is her debut, so I thought it would be a good place to start, and I want to get through as many as possible this year, so I need to actually get on that. Eileen is the only other one of her books that I own. If anyone has any other recommendations of hers, please let me know. Oh, going back to the Kindle thing quickly. Sorry, I'm going off track. I'm looking for Kindle Unlimited recs. There are, whenever I go on there, it's 90% fantasy, and I'm not a huge fantasy reader. I read a few, but I'm not the biggest fantasy person, but it's all fantasy and then thrillers, which I do really like a thriller. I mean, I really like fantasy, but at my heart of hearts, I'm a literary fiction girl. So if anybody has any literary fiction Kindle Unlimited suggestions, I can't really find any. We have lots of literary fiction on there, but none of them are included. It all mostly seems to be fantasy, romance, and then a bit of thriller. So if anybody has any suggestions, please do let me know. Back to Eileen. This is about Rebecca, I think her name is. No, Rebecca's the woman she's obsessed with. Can't remember her name. Can't remember her name. Can't remember her name.
Hi, it's editing flow. I'm just popping on because I've actually been cackling at this for like 10 minutes. Firstly, because it's the second time I've done it, and secondly, because it's dumb. I'm literally sat there being like, yeah, I can't remember what the main woman's name is. Babe, the book is called Eileen. Babe, the book is called Eileen. The main woman's called Eileen. We're following Eileen. The character is called Eileen. But what's worse is it's the second time I've done it in a video. I've been like, oh, I can't remember the character's name. It's Eileen. It's Eileen, babe. Anyway, as you were.
Can't remember her name, but we're following this main woman who works in a prison, and then she becomes obsessed with a woman, I think, called Rebecca, who starts working there. And I love a woman obsessed story, and I love Ottessa Moshfegh. So what's not to love? Then we have a book called Gold Rush. I looked this up on Goodreads the other day, and I think it had like 800 ratings. And I can't remember how I heard about this book, but the cover is gorgeous, and I just think the synopsis sounds really up my alley. It's something to do with a woman who works at like a PR firm, I think. She does like media, or like she works for a magazine or something for famous people, and then I think something like traumatic happens to her, and it's the aftermath of that. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's a literary fiction, and I think, again, I'm trying to like find authors where I've not really heard of them or their books before, and like go in blind and explore their works. So I think I'm gonna try and get to that one very soon. Then we have I Hope This Finds You Well, because I've heard this described as The Office. Say no more. Say no more. I think it's meant to be like a comedy about a woman set at an office. I think it's this book. She's sending emails, and then at like the bottom of her emails, she is texting people in like white font so they can't see it, but basically like insulting them, and then she gets caught. I think it's something to do with that. That's the setup. I think it's meant to be quite light-hearted, funny, office vibes. I don't know, I saw a couple of reviews of it. It sounded good, it sounded funny. I want to get to it. Okay, now we're moving on to some books that are on my physical TBR and I just think would be good to get to ASAP. Starting with Honey and Spice. I just think this gives, maybe summer, but I just think it will be fun spring vibes. She is a college DJ. I don't know if college is our university, because I'm assuming it's set in America, because our college is like 16 to 18, but I think American college is 18 plus. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but I think they're at university and she is like the uni DJ, and I just think that sounds like a really cool setup. I don't know anything else about it other than that, but I want to get to that ASAP. Then I have Ghosts. This is Dolly Alderton's debut. I read Good Material. Found it such a comforting read. I just thought it was absolutely gorgeous. Again, I've seen Dolly Alderton speak. I think she's so funny, so lovely. I want to read her debut. I don't know what it's about. I think it was like vaguely similar vibes to Good Material, except Good Material is told from a guy's perspective and this one is a woman. Then I've written down Powerless by Elsie Silver, third book in the Chestnut Springs. Just need to continue this series again, maybe for a continuing series video. Small town, cowboy, silly fun. It's a fun series and I want to keep going. It is, however, massive. I think it's like 500-600 pages, which is crazy for a romance. It's the longest one in the series, so I have been procrastinating it, but I've really enjoyed the other 2 books from her, so I want to get to that. Then the next few, actually I think all of the rest, are from my 25 books to read in 2025. I'll quickly put the graphic up on screen so you can see how I'm doing so far. I want to say I've read 4, around that. I've read a few. I'm on track, I think. But these are the ones that I think would be good to get to in the spring. Starting with Love Theoretically, Ali Hazelwood. I've never read an Ali Hazelwood book and I know the girlies are obsessed. So I want to read one. This is like a STEM romance. I think she's a fake girlfriend and then she dates the main guy's brother, something to do with that. I just think it will be fun. Then a book that I, again, have never heard of, but I just think the cover, the title, everything about it is gorgeous. That is Everyone I Know Is Dying. This is like my absolute classic thing that I always bang on about how much I love. 20-something messy literary fiction. I've read the blurb a few times. I don't totally remember what it's about, but I found it in a bookstore in Edinburgh and I just knew that I had to pick it up. And so I want to get to that in spring. Then we have Remarkably Bright Creatures. This is, I think, like a literary mystery vibe about a woman who works in an aquarium, I think, and she befriends an octopus who I assume can talk? Don't know, don't quote me on that. She befriends an octopus and the octopus is helping her solve the mystery of either her husband or her son's disappearance. I think something's happened to both of them. I think one of them might have died and one of them's missing. Can't remember which way round, but this is a book that is beloved beyond anything. This is like Eleanor Oliphant levels of loved. In my head, those books are on a level because every singular person that I've heard talk about both of these books is obsessed, completely obsessed. So I need to get to it. Then we have Out on a Limb. That was so weird. Literally, as I said the words out on a limb, my friend Carly messaged me about Out on a Limb, saying that she bought it for someone. That was just such a weird coincidence. Out on a Limb, Hannah Bonam-Young. I recently read Next of Kin, just loved the writing style. She is so funny and I want to get to Out on a Limb. I very briefly before looked at the, not the author's note, maybe it was the author's note, like a little bit written at the start of the book. And it was so gorgeous that I am now so excited for this book. This is Accidental Pregnancy Trope, which I know is a icky one for a lot of people, but this seems to be people's exception to that rule. Now, I'm not a hater of that trope, but I know a lot of people are, and this is the exception. This one and Ready or Not seem to be the exceptions. I'm excited, I love her writing style, I can't wait to read another one of hers. Then, oh my gosh, this book has been a 5-star prediction for literally the longest time. Why have I not read it yet? Alone with You in the Ether. It's a love story, but it's a literary fiction, not a romance. And it's between, I think, a doctor and someone in a mental health hospital. I think. To be honest, I don't really know a whole lot about this, but just every time I hear a review of it, I think this is going to be up my alley. The only other book I've read from this author was The Atlas Six, and I really enjoyed the writing, but I read that very long time ago. But I just think that writing style in a literary fiction is going to be breathtaking. And last but not least, we absolutely flew through these, but I am losing my voice, so I'm going to go quickly. We have one of my favourite ever authors, Eliza Clark. She's Always Hungry. This is her debut short story collection. I am not the biggest short story fan. I do tend to avoid short story collections because they're not my thing. But you know what is my thing? Eliza Clark. I love her. I love her. Penance, Boy Parts, both 5 stars. It is feminist, horror, literary. That's all I know. That is all I've got for you, babe. Cover, gorgeous, as always. She never misses. And Eliza Clark writes female rage like nobody else. I'm excited. I don't know if it's really a spring vibe, but this is very much one that I just need to get to ASAP. Okay, and we're done. Those are the 20 books that I want to get to this spring. Let me know what's on your spring TBR. If you've got any recommendations for me, specifically Kindle Unlimited literary fiction recs, please, I'm desperate. If you can think of any that are on there, let me know. Even if I already own them on my physical TBR, like I just want to play around with my Kindle, but I do want some literary recs because I feel like I've not gotten the chance to read that much literary fiction this year. I've had a lot of videos where the choice has been out of my hands, which is fine. I film a lot of those videos and I like them, but I feel like I've read a lot of very genre-based stuff, so thriller, romance, fantasy, which is grand. I like all those genres, but I just want to go back to my roots a little bit. If you've got any literary fiction racks on Kindle Unlimited, please let me know, because I can basically find none. I literally found one, which was Mother Thing, I think it's called. Anyway, if you've got any, let me know. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to see any of these books in reading vlogs, let me know which ones. Like the video, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. Love you, bye!